Most parents walk into a toddler meltdown with one fundamental assumption baked into their brain. This is a behavior problem. He's being dramatic. She's being manipulative. They're testing me. And so the response becomes correction. Raise the voice, hold the boundary, wait it out, show them it won't work. And sometimes that approach looks like it works, at least on the outside. The screaming stops, the child goes quiet. But the reason it stopped is not because they learned self-control. It's because they got scared. And that's a very different thing. Because what you were actually looking at was never a behavior problem. It was a brain problem. A beautiful, predictable, completely neurological event happening inside a brain that is still, at 1 or 2 or 3 years old, radically unfinished. Here's what's actually happening inside your toddler when they melt down. And I want you to hold on to this because it will genuinely shift something in you. The human brain develops from the bottom up. The brainstem comes first, the part that handles survival, breathing, heartbeat, basic fight or flight. Then the limbic system, which is the emotional center, the part that fires when your child feels joy or fear or frustration. And last, slowly, painstakingly over the first 25 years of life, comes the prefrontal cortex, the part that regulates emotions, considers consequences, uses logic, and can pause before reacting. Your toddler does not have a functioning prefrontal cortex. It's there, it's growing, but it is not yet online in the way it needs to be to do what we keep asking it to do. So when the cup is wrong, and the toast is cut in triangles instead of squares, and they wanted to carry their own backpack, but also they're overtired and slightly hungry, what happens is a full neurological flood. Researchers call it an amygdala hijack. The emotional brain gets overwhelmed, and because there's no regulatory capacity to step in and manage it, the whole system goes offline. What you see as defiance or manipulation is actually your child's brain doing exactly what it was built to do when it gets overwhelmed. It explodes. And I want to ask you something, and I'd love you to tell me in the comments. When you really picture that, when you picture that it is physically impossible for them to do anything other than what they're doing in that moment, does it change something for you? Because it changed everything for me. Now let's talk about what that means in practice, because this is where most well-meaning parenting advice completely falls apart. You've probably heard, stay calm. You've probably been told, get down to their level, use your words, validate their feelings. And in theory, yes. But in the middle of a full meltdown, when your child is on the floor and you've been awake since 5 and you already used your patience on the tantrum before breakfast, that advice feels like someone handing you a violin during a car crash. The problem isn't that you don't understand the principles. The problem is that those principles were never translated into a biological sequence, a specific order of operations that matches what's actually happening inside your child's nervous system in real time. Here's the reality. When your toddler melts down, their nervous system is in a state of complete dysregulation. And there's a profound discovery in developmental neuroscience called co-regulation, the process by which an immature nervous system literally borrows the calm from a regulated nervous system nearby. In other words, your child cannot regulate themselves, but they can sync to you. Their brainstem, that most primitive and ancient part of the brain, is scanning the environment the entire time they are screaming. It's looking for one thing. Are you safe? Is the person in front of me in panic mode too? Or are they grounded? This is why when you escalate, they escalate. Not because they're punishing you, because their survival system is mirroring yours. Your nervous system becomes the external regulator for their internal chaos, which means the single most powerful intervention during a meltdown is not what you say, it's what your body does. But here's what I also want you to understand, and this is the thing nobody talks about. There are 3 specific things your toddler secretly needs during a meltdown that most parents either skip, sequence wrong, or do in a way that accidentally signals threat instead of safety. The first is physical proximity done the right way. Not grabbing, not forcing a hug, not holding them down to make it stop, but being close in a way that communicates, "I'm not afraid of this, and you are safe here." The way you position your body, the level you drop to, even the direction you're facing, these are all brainstem level signals. Your child's lower brain reads your body before it registers your words. The second thing they need is silence over speech. This is counterintuitive because we're wired to explain and reason and fix, but a flooded brain cannot process language. Talking at your toddler mid-meltdown is not soothing. It's noise. What they need is the presence of your calm, not the sound of your words. The explanation, the validation, the teaching, all of it comes after. The third thing they need is a return to rhythm. The nervous system regulates through pattern and repetition. Slow, rhythmic movement, rocking, swaying, even slow and deliberate breathing that they can hear, acts as an external pacemaker for their dysregulated system. It's the same reason we instinctively rock babies. That instinct doesn't disappear at 18 months. It goes underground. And when you bring it back, you'll be stunned by how quickly the storm begins to pass. Now, if everything I just explained resonated with you, I need to tell you something important. Because understanding your toddler's brain is only half the equation. The other half is what happens inside your nervous system when the meltdown starts. Most parents I talk to say the same thing. "I know what to do, I just can't do it when it's actually happening." That's not a willpower problem. That's a sequencing problem. And nobody has ever given you the right tool in the right order for the right moment. I wrote the reset cycle specifically for that gap. It's not another gentle parenting theory. It's a 3-step biological system: regulate, break, repair, built for the real conditions of your life. The 7 a.m. meltdown, the supermarket floor, the moment after you already yelled. It works before the crisis, after the explosion, and in the hours that follow. The link is in the description. And if there's one thing you take away from this video today, take that. Here's what I want you to sit with as you go back into your day. Your child is not giving you a hard time. They are having a hard time, inside a brain that is doing exactly what 3 years of human development looks like from the inside. The meltdown is not a failure of your parenting, and it's not a flaw in your child's character. It is a neurological event, and now you know what it is, which means you are already more equipped than you were 10 minutes ago. You showed up. You pressed play. You wanted to understand your child better instead of just surviving them, and that is not a small thing. That is everything. So if this video gave you something today, I'd ask you to subscribe, because this channel exists for exactly this: to translate the chaos of toddlerhood into something you can actually use, one behavior at a time. We have videos on big emotions, sleep regressions, aggressive phases, the why stage, the no stage, every stage that has ever made you question your sanity. You don't have to survive this in the dark. I'll see you in the next one.